Back again, another preview. This time it's the Carolina Panthers. Scott Cole, Nick Mazzetsko hanging out with you. And we're getting in the bottom of this NFC South. We've already talked about the Buccaneers. We've already talked about the New Orleans Saints. But now, perfect timing, we got to talk about Baker Mayfield maybe shaking up the division. Does he improve Carolina? They won 5 games a year ago. It's going to be a tough road for them, but we'll break down the Carolina Panthers next. All right, Nick, this was a bad football team a year ago. 5 wins, most of them you would say, yeah, I get it. They did beat the Arizona Cardinals on the road bad, 34-10. That was their best win of the season, but they only had 5. 5-12, they finished last in the NFC South.
Yeah, also, congratulations. They won their first 3 games, and everybody thought, Carolina? They were 3-0, and they finished 5-12, so not a great end of the year. Nope. Much like so many of the seasons have gone for the Carolina Panthers, this story went, wow, these Carolina Panthers, they're not bad. Oh, Christian McCaffrey's hurt. All right, see you later. Yeah, that was it. Over. It was game over. They were ravaged by injuries, though, as well. Their number 1 pick from the year before, J.C. Horn, broke his foot in week 3, so they didn't have J.C. Horn the entire year. They made some splashes last year. Remember, they brought in Stephon Gilmore mid-year. Mm-hmm. The big one was Cam Newton played half the year. Sam Darnold played half the year. P.J. Walker played a year. Quarterback position was a mess for them. And frankly, this team just wasn't very good. I would not say they were... I would not put them as Houston Texans bad. Let's say that. They weren't. No. They had life. They were held back by 3 things. 1, not having Christian McCaffrey. 2, whoever was playing quarterback was bad. And number 3, Matt Rule is a bottom 5 head coach.
I think that's what we're starting to see. Of course, winning can change everything. And, for some teams, you can certainly, make your team better through the draft. How do you feel the draft went for these Carolina Panthers?
Oh, this draft was actually, I would say a solid draft for sure. They didn't have a 2nd-round pick, and I think for a team that lacks some talented spots, not having picks going in hurts them. Yeah. But listen, their number 1 thing they had to do was protect their quarterback. Their offensive line was a bottom 5 unit all last year. And at number 6, I think the guy who they were looking at the whole time falling to them ended up getting to them in Ike Ekwonu out of NC State. I think Ekwonu was probably the best tackle talent that was out there. I mean, I know everybody liked Evan Neal. I know there were a lot of people out there on Charles Cross, but I think Ekwonu was the best. He's
could have gone 1.
He could have gone anywhere in the top. I mean, I think 6 was a steal for Carolina, and not having to move up a bunch. Plus, you get the added benefit of this is an NC State guy getting to stay home in Carolina and play for the Panthers. I love that. Beyond that, the big thing, rounds 4 through 7, some depth pieces. They get a really speedy guy in Kalen Barnes out of Baylor, somebody who Matt Rule recruited. He runs a 4.23 40 at corner, but he's a 7th-round pick. I don't know what he's going to contribute. The big one is at number 94, 3rd round, they go out and get Matt Corral out of Ole Miss, somebody who a lot of people thought could have been early in the year, in the college football year. This was a guy who they were saying 1st round, maybe the first one off the board. Yep. Falls to the 3rd round, they go and pick him. And Scott, this quarterback room is an absolute mess. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they've got 3 quarterbacks who should feel like they should be starting for this team. Also, P.J. Walker's still there. Hey, man. That's that, P.J.
But let's throw the offseason in because we're still in it. You make a trade for a quarterback. You get your guy, Baker Mayfield, who was in no man's land. Certainly wasn't going to play this year no matter what happens with Deshaun Watson, that we still don't know at this moment here on July 12th. Still talks around that. But, hey, you get a guy that was a former number 1 pick coming to your team where you have pretty much nothing at quarterback. It does kind of muddy the waters a little bit in the quarterback room. But you definitely upgraded the quarterback position, which was your number 1 lack.
I mean, so this deal has 2 very interesting aspects to it. Number 1, you're getting a guy in Baker Mayfield who A, is going to be motivated, B, is a year removed from leading the Browns to their first playoff win since they returned. Yep. First playoff win since 1988. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be clear. He was in that playoff year in 2021 or in 2020, he was statistically a top 8 quarterback. He was stellar, and he has statistically, when he has been healthy, played at a top 15 level. Last year, of course, the torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. Should he have played? Absolutely not. Should have coached his bench him? Absolutely. Kevin Stefanski grow a spine and bench him already. But you love his, what do they call it? His moxie, his like competitive fire.
He can sell insurance, and he can throw the ball.
Dude, listen, I just want to see the sad progressive commercial where he moves out. But this is the thing, Scott, they really got him. I mean, they bought low on him. This was a guy who wanted out of Cleveland. They only had to give up a conditional 4th round pick. And the Browns picked up the majority of the salary for this year. You get him for a year, you have an opportunity to see what you have. And on one level, I go, man, great job. You really got a steal there. But then you remember that they gave up 3 first-round picks for Sam Darnold. And you go, oof. Yep. So all these people go, well, they traded for Baker Mayfield so he can be the starting quarterback. I'm not so sure about that, Scott. They gave up a ton for Sam Darnold. They spent draft capital on Matt Corral. I think Baker Mayfield's a buy low candidate that if Sam Darnold continues to be bad, which we all think he might, then at that point you have a capable veteran backup to lead Matt Corral and teach him the ways.
I mean, I don't think Baker Mayfield – I don't know if he could even deny the trade here, but I think he's excited to go to Carolina because I think he's got a really high level chance to start, and I think he should start.
Assuming that labrum in his left shoulder has healed up, which he had off-season shoulder surgery, there's no reason to think that he should. But I don't know. I mean, again, this Carolina Panthers franchise, and I apologize to my guy One Great User for saying this, but they have been disastrously run for about 10 years now. I don't know what they're like. Can you really bench the guy that you gave up 3 first-round picks for a guy who only has a year on his contract? I
can't let you get away with that 10-year thing because they did go to the Super Bowl.
Well,
they did go to Super Bowl 50. I mean, they got Von Millard.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they got Von Millard, and
that was an anomaly.
15-1. Yeah,
that was an anomaly with Cam Newton going crazy one year.
Yeah, but ever since that year, it's been a downhill spiral.
Yeah,
they went out and hired Matt Rule, who has proven that he is in way over his head in Carolina. And I just don't know if you can, especially because Baker Mayfield only got 1 year left on this contract, do you just play Sam Darnold because you gave up so much draft capital for him? And if he's bad, which he is, you get rid of him after this year.
3 picks in the 2018 draft.
That's what I'm saying.
On their team.
That's all these people are so quick to crown Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback. I think Baker Mayfield should be the starter. I also think that there's some stubbornness in that organization going, we gave up a lot for this guy. We didn't protect him. We went out and got Ike Ekwonu in the draft so we can finally protect him. He never had Christian McCaffrey. Good Lord, hopefully Christian McCaffrey will be healthy. Let's see what we have in Sam Darnold. I just don't know what the answer is.
How do you feel if you're Sam Darnold? Right? We haven't even discussed that because
you're seeing ghosts. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're there. You're going to be the starter. You're okay with Matt Corral getting drafted. You're like, all right.
I think if you're Sam Darnold, aren't you walking into the trading room and going, guys, we need to keep Christian McCaffrey healthy for one entire season. Can we bubble wrap him a little bit? Geez.
So that's going to be interesting about who their starter is. Obviously, they've really kind of solidified. At least you're going to have somebody that you hope can spin the rock. We'll see if that changes. Anything, especially when it comes to the division, about when we get to the win-loss game. What do you think? I mean, we talked about the running back situation, Chris McCaffrey or bust. Basically, that's where they're at. What do you think about this wideout?
This offense is interesting. But I'm going to go, by the way, I think for these predictions, I'm going to go on the caveat. I think Baker Mayfield's going to start the whole year. I'm going to go on that caveat. I don't want to play the Sam Darnold game. No. Running backs, by the way, it's not quite Christian McCaffrey or bust. Remember, they got Chuba Hubbard behind him, former Oklahoma State dude. Running back. He's cool.
He's a big boy.
Wide receiving core is the most up and down group I've ever seen. I'm a big DJ Moore fan. Loved him at Maryland. I think he's one of the more underrated receivers out there. I think Robbie Anderson is a trash can. I think he is garbage. And I cannot wait for him to that first meeting with Baker Mayfield when he said, pass, I'm bringing Baker Mayfield into Carolina. Oops, he will be passing the ball to you, Robbie, you fantasy football bum. Beyond that, there's not a lot. Terrence Marshall Jr. is okay. They bring in Rashard Higgins, who I think
a lot of undrafted guys.
Brandon Zylstra. I mean, Rashard Higgins is the interesting one for me because he had a decent year for the Browns in I think 2020, And then he got benched in multiple games in 2021 with no explanation. So I think he probably slept with Kevin Stefanski's sister because it's just a personal beef that he had with him. I think Higgins is a good receiver and could very well fit that slot number 3 role.
Especially if Baker Mayfield,
Mayfield,
right? You got some familiarity there.
They did tight end group, not great. They used to have Dan Arnold. They traded Dan Arnold. Now it's Tommy Tremble. I don't think Tommy Tremble's that good. He's a good blocker, though, for Christian McCaffrey stays healthy. The offensive line is going to be sort of your measuring stick for this offense. Ike Ekwonu is going to play left tackle. You got former Ohio State Buckeye and Pat Elflein at center. You've got some veterans, Austin Corbett. You've got Bradley Bozeman. Right tackle's Taylor Moton. Not the biggest Taylor Moton fan. I think he's kind of lumbery.
Not a lot of household names out there on this line.
Not really. It's unsung heroes. I think if Ekwonu can solidify that left side, Scott, the quarterback goes as the left tackle goes. And I think on a scale of A to F, this offense is a C-.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair about the whole team. They're just kind of,
it's not
Texans bad as we talked about.
Exactly. I don't look at them and go, wow, there's no talent. I look at them and go, wow, there's a lot of people here, huh?
Yeah. How did these people, how did they get here?
I think the defense is a different story, though.
Gets a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball, correct?
Yeah. They've got one of the best young defensive ends in Brian Burns. I really like Brian Burns. I think he's a stud. They bring in Matt Ioannidis from Washington. I liked Ioannidis in that defense. They also have another young defensive end, former Penn State Nittany Lion, Yetur Gross-Matos, who I know they're a big fan of. He showed a lot at Penn State. I think he could be somebody to look for to take a step forward. Linebackers, I swear to God, Shaq Thompson has been there for 35 years. I think he was there back in the 70s. I don't know how he still has a job. He's cool. Shout out to Shaq. The only reason I know Shaq Thompson's been there for a while is because back in Madden 17, I was the Panthers in franchise. And I was like, oh, Shaq Thompson is so cool. It's now 2022. I like their D-backs.
He's really one of the longest veterans that have stayed with the team.
I mean, and hey, let's not forget, imagine if Luke Kuechly didn't retire at 31. He'd probably still be there too. Talk about one of the young players that retired far too young. Their secondary, I think, is really stellar, though. Dante Jackson and J.C. Horn, assuming J.C. Horn stays healthy again. It's a great 1-2 cornerback. And then they have one of the best strong safeties in Jeremy Chin. I love Jeremy Chin. I think Derwin James gets a lot of the shine. Jeremy Chin is just as good. He just plays in a smaller market. And I love Jeremy Chin. He's also got Xavier Woods, the former Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, and he came from a smaller market, right? He played at Southern Illinois, then he got Charlotte. I mean, it's a lot different than playing at Florida State and then going out and playing for the Los Angeles Chargers.
They also have some interesting depth at corner. Rashawn Melvin, I think, is a very nice third corner, can play that nickel role. They also have C.J. Henderson. Let's remember, a first-round pick out of Florida, was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, never really got a shot. Who knows whether it's a talent reason or if it's because the Jaguars
are a top 10 pick.
He was a number 9 pick. And let's not forget, you don't know if it's a talent thing or if it's just the Jaguars are such a dumpster fire of an organization that he never really got the development that he could. Comes over to Carolina. Not that Matt Rule is that much better, but he's a defensive coach. Could see him get some play. We could see what C.J. Henderson made. I like this defense, Scott. If this defense had a better offense, we're talking playoffs. This is a really solid defense. It's just they have to be out there a lot.
Best player on the team, punter, Johnny Hekker.
What a leg. They do also have Zane Gonzalez at kicker, former Cleveland Brown, so it's not him.
No, definitely not him. Let's get to the win-loss game for these Panthers here in the NFC South. We've already gone through and kind of crowned the Buccaneers as the division champs. Now it's questionable. Does this affect anything we said about New Orleans last week as we get down into this year's schedule? I mean, at quick glance, they start off the season, week 1, hosting the Cleveland Browns of all things. You got to start Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield is going to get his big battle against Jacoby Brissett. It's going to be really cool. Can't wait for that one. This is a toss-up game.
Well, you get nervous. I mean, before we were just like, when... But you throw one name in the mix, and all of a sudden,
again, we might have to go back and do a show on the Cleveland Browns once we find out what Deshaun Watson's number actually is.
There's going to be a part 2. I just know there is for the Cleveland Browns.
This is a toss-up game. I think we said it was a toss-up game. I've gone back and forth as to how I feel about this game. I am now officially on. I think the Carolina Panthers win this game, and there are 2 reasons for this. Number one is...
You think the Panthers can stop the Browns running game?
Yes. I think they have the I mean, Brian Burns is a great their D-line is solid, and you've got a Shaq Thompson who is a solid run-stopping linebacker. Like, they have the pieces to do it. There are two reasons why I think the Panthers win this game. Number one, Baker Mayfield's going to be motivated. He is just going to straight up be motivated. He is. He's going to be happy. I mean, let's be clear. Let's remember that Baker Mayfield's first win against the New York Jets, he came in halfway through and looked lights out. Yep. As long as he's healthy, I think he is motivated. And number two, the Cleveland Football Browns are 1-15-1 in opening day games. They do not win opening games. The Panthers will get this one at home. It is a toss-up. They could very well just run all over it. I don't trust Jacoby Brissett to go ahead and get a win on the road to start things off. The Browns are awful in opening week games. Give me the Panthers at home.
Wow, so 1-0. I think they go 2-0. I think they go up to New York and beat the Giants.
I think this is a Giants team that will be better later in the year. There's a lot of young pieces out there. Still don't really know who their wide receiving core is. I'm sure I'll find out when we do our show on the Giants, but right. I think Kenny Galladay's still there probably. Yeah, I like the Panthers on the road there. That's a tough game, but I think it's a good matchup for them. And again, Baker Mayfield's a big step up from the quarterbacks they've had in the past.
So now we get into a division game at home versus the New Orleans Saints, which for the Buccaneers, for the Saints, anytime we had them going up against the Panthers, we were like, that's going to be a win. But remember, New Orleans, without Kamara those first couple games.
Yep.
And they have to now face we think, a Baker Mayfield-led Panther team.
I think it's still a toss-up, but I'm going to take the Panthers in this one, honestly, Scott. I think this is – but you might be getting some PTSD flashbacks from last year. Remember, they started out 3-0 last year, finished 5-12. The weird part about doing the schedule, Scott, is there's a game you have to play, which is which week will Christian McCaffrey break his ankle or something and not play the rest of the year. Yep. But again, I think with Christian McCaffrey last year, that's a 500 football team. I think with Christian McCaffrey, this is a decent team. I think the home game against New Orleans, they get it. This screams split throughout the year, though.
These next 4 games on the schedule for the Panthers, they go from 3-0 to 3-4. They got the Cardinals, 49ers, Rams, Buccaneers. Certainly, they beat the Cardinals last year on the road.
They beat the Cardinals this year, Scott. They will not have DeAndre Hopkins. Ooh, they are getting the weird schedule quirks of they get the Saints without. They're going to get the Browns without Deshaun Watson. They're going to get the Saints without Alvin Kamara, and they're going to get the Cardinals without DeAndre Hopkins. And Kyler Murray looked lost last year without DeAndre Hopkins out there. And let's remember, doesn't have Christian Kirk anymore.
He looked really bad.
He has Hollywood Brown, who has never proven himself to be a number one receiver, and no run game because they lose Christian Kirk, who is his best target outside of D-Hop. I think the Panthers win that game. Also, they get him at home. Arizona has to go
4-0 Panthers?
4-0 Carolina Panthers. Week 5, they play the San Francisco 49ers. I think they beat the 49ers. You want to know why? Because they're starting Trey Lance, and Trey Lance sucks. He's not good. There's no way they start Trey Lance. No way. I think the 49ers game is a toss-up. The 49ers also have to travel from west to east. They're getting some.
Yeah, I know you don't like that. I know that you like to favor the home team in those east-west transitions. So you got them going 5-0.
I think they're probably 4-1, Scott. I think they're going to lose one of the Arizona San Francisco games. I'm not sure which one. I'm going to lean towards San Francisco because I think San Francisco's defense I think San Francisco's defense has the best shot out of those 4 teams of really creating some havoc. With Nick Bosa out there, like he's just a beast, and that defense flies. And I think Deebo Samuel will cause them problems. I think it's a toss-up game. I think the 49ers finally break up the Panthers win streak. But if Trey Lance is starting, Scott, I don't know, man. Trey Lance sucks. I think they might already be back to Jimmy G, though. They have not traded Jimmy Garoppolo. It might be Jimmy G starting.
Got to do something with one of them. That's all I do know. All right, we're going to test and see if you've been drinking. October 16th, they go to Los Angeles and play the world champion Rams.
Scott, this is a team with a lot of confidence. They've won a lot of games early. I think it's a young team that's getting sort of that momentum going. They have their quarterback who I think solidifies them. I think if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, they go to LA and they only lose by 21. Because that Rams team should beat the crap out of them. I think the Rams team is the best team in the NFL still. So sorry guys, welcome back to the space shuttle's landing, okay? And they'll be 4-2.
Yeah, you want to talk about a game that you're worried about people getting hurt. That's cross country. Ike
Ekwonu is going to get to meet Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That whole line's nuts. So they come back and have a home game the following week, and they face who we think is going to win the division, the Fighting Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And Tampa Bay will beat them big. Even though it's a home game, even though I think this team is better with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, I don't bet against Thomas Patrick Edward Brady. I always forget it, but he's really good. He's got a lot of rings. Give me Tampa 2 scores.
Then they go on the road to Atlanta, rivalry game. But there's a reason why we're doing Atlanta next week. Is we feel like they're the bottom feeder of the group. But right now you got them sitting at 4-3.
Yep.
With losses really in the last 3 games, is what you're saying. 49ers, Rams, Buccaneers.
And this is a toss-up game for no reason other than it is a divisional game on the road. It's a tough place to play at Mercedes-Benz Superdome. But I got the Panthers winning this game. I think the Panthers are, with Baker Mayfield, markedly better than the Falcons now.
And that's all we can do is sit here and say, we believe Baker Mayfield is going to be the starter.
And we believe Christian McCaffrey will be healthy.
Still healthy.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do.
That's all we can do.
He gets hurt, and all of a sudden, it's the same as last year, right?
We can play the game with the suspensions because we know what some of those look like. We have an idea of what they're going to be. Obviously, appeals could change how those look. But we can't play the injuries game. If Christian McCaffrey gets hurt in week 1, this team is winless. I mean, that's how it is. But with Christian McCaffrey and with a Baker Mayfield who is markedly better than any quarterback they had last year, they go beat the Marcus Mariota-led Atlanta Falcons, who still don't have a number 1 wide receiver. It might be Desmond Ridder, by the way.
Trust the process for Atlanta. Yeah. It just is. By the way, their uniforms are terrible. We'll talk about it next week.
The ATL, I hate that thing. Oh, my God.
It looks like an arena team.
It looks like clip art.
Someone said it looked like, I think it was their last uniform rendition, looked like the longest yard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That was actually the Panthers social media team that trolled them. Anyway, it's a good rivalry game, but I think you're right. I think Carolina does win this. So they're sitting at 5-3. So they get to play the Rams on the road, and they get to play the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. They're on November 6th.
Yeah, Scott, they got the schedule that the Buccaneers should have gotten, as opposed to getting every single one of these teams at home. Thank you, Goodell. Yep. I don't care home or away. The Bengals are a very good team, and the Bengals are going to beat the Panthers by a lot. I do worry about the Bengals a little bit. Their defense, I wonder if they can play the level that they did last year. It was a lot of players that played sort of above where they have been, but they don't. I like the Panthers defense, but that Bengals offense is crazy. Yeah, give me the Bengals in that one.
This is another team that has a late bye week, a week 13 bye week that I think just really hurts them. Only 4 days off. They play the following Thursday. They get to play the Falcons, and that is, trying to do the math here, you play the Falcons twice within 11 days.
Yeah, and this is their only non-Sunday game. They did not get any of the London games. They did not get a Sunday night game. They
have a Saturday game.
They have a Saturday game. Yeah, that's cool.
The Christmas Eve NFL season.
I got the Panthers winning this one. Also because, just to point out, the Atlanta Falcons play the LA Chargers the week before. So that is going to be a painful game for them. They're going to be reeling.
We're going to be really struggling to find some wins for the Falcons next week.
It's going to be tough. But again, assuming Christian McCaffrey is healthy and assuming Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback, they are markedly better than the Falcons. I even think
with Sam Darnold and Chubb, whoever.
The Chuba Hubbub?
I still think they beat the Falcons.
Chuba Hubbard, Nick Chubb, Chadley Hubbard, don't care who it is, Cassie Hubbard, give me the Falcons by 30.
Put them all in there. They get 10 days off, so sort of a bye week. And they got to travel to Baltimore. And we currently have them sitting at what here? This is their 11th ball game, and we got them sitting at 6-4.
Yeah, and I think they'll be 6-5 after this game. Mm-hmm. This is closer to a toss-up than I sort of thought it would be. I think they have the defense that can keep up with Lamar Jackson and that rushing attack. I just don't I don't know how long you can do it. And with Lamar Jackson, it's a game of attrition. And if there's one team that's not good at attrition, it's the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, no.
I think that's a tough game. I also think going to Baltimore is one of the hardest places to play, and I think it's understated how tough it is to win at M&T Bank Stadium. That place gets loud. Give me Baltimore in a close game, but I think Baltimore wins.
The question is, do the Baltimore fans care by that point? Because we've already previewed them.
Yeah,
it ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be exciting. I mean, the exciting thing is maybe just
Lamar Jackson mediocrity, my friend.
Life.
They're mediocre as all mediocre gets.
Then they get a home game on November 27th, sitting at 6-5. They play what we believe is going to be one of the best teams in the league, in the Denver Broncos.
I like this Broncos team. I'm not quite as high on them as other people, but I think the Broncos are going to be very good this year. They also now have Condoleezza Rice in their ownership group, so they got some power players. Even though it's a West to East home game, and I don't like taking those West Coast teams, I think Denver's just markedly more talented than Carolina. And I think Denver, especially with a week 13 bye week, the Panthers are going to be beat up at this point. Give me the Broncos big.
So sitting at 6-6, they finally get to the bye week, and they're going to need it. They're going to need to rest up after that. Kind of they had some really tough games in there leading up to this week 14. They go on the road, east to west, all the way out to Seattle on December 11th, and the Seahawks are not very good either.
No, this is a toss-up game for me. I think if this was in
I'm not
Carolina,
watching this game. Like, I'll probably be on the East Coast by this point, and that'll probably be the game that's on.
And I'll pass.
And I'll be like, oh, man.
I'll be like, I got some grilling to do or something, man. I got to go to the grocery store. Here's the thing. I think if this game was in Carolina, I got Carolina, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I think this being in Seattle makes this weird. I still got Carolina for two reasons. Number one, at this moment, as of July 12th, Drew Lock is the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, and that's just no good for anybody.
Nope.
Number
and we know
two,
they're not getting Baker Mayfield.
No, and number two, you want to talk about a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder. Baker Mayfield was linked to Seattle. He said he wanted to go to Seattle. He said Seattle was his place he wanted to play, and the Seahawks said, no, thank you. We like Drew Lock more than you. Baker should go out there with some fire in his chest. Again, it is going to be in Seattle. That's a tough place to play. It's an afternoon game, but, I got the Panthers winning that one on the road because I can't bet on Drew Lock.
No. And maybe they need to do a trade, and that's maybe where Sam Darnold needs to go, even though that's not a huge.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's not a huge improvement either.
Is that a big upgrade from Drew Lock? That's got to be like one or two steps.
Yeah, that's yikes. So they're sitting at 7-6 with 4 games remaining, and it's that team that we have a hard time figuring out what they're going to be. On December 18th, they host the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I got the Steelers winning this one. Another close game. I don't want to say toss-up. I think the Steelers are better than this team. I think T.J. Watt is going to welcome Ike Ekwonu to the NFL with open arms. And Baker is going to see flashes of and T.J. Watt's going to be motivated after the Browns knocked them out of the playoffs 2 years ago to go eat him. I got the Steelers winning this game. I think it'll be a 6-3 ball game, though. This is a game, Scott, I'm not watching if it's the only game on television. No, thank you. It's December 18th. The weather will be lovely in Arizona. I will have a new child here, and I am in no world am I watching Pittsburgh play Carolina.
No. Don't want to bring anybody in the world like
I'd rather watch the Steelers play Clemson than play the Carolina Panthers.
Hey, I got Clemson by a field goal on that one.
Damn. Kenny Pickett.
Even though Kenny Pickett did give Clemson some troubles.
A little trouble.
Week 16, the 7-7 Carolina Panthers take on the Detroit Lions at home. And this is on Saturday, Christmas Eve. Get the family together for this one.
I got the Lions winning this one. I do. Wow. I got the Lions winning. I like this Lions team, Scott. They did some great moves. I'm excited to do their preview because I'm excited to look at their schedule would be the big one. But listen, this is a team that found some stride into last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown
finish second in that division, by the way.
Amon-Ra St. Brown looked a lot better through the end of the year. They go out and they get Jameson Williams, who I think is going to be a really nice number one wide receiver. This is a team that has found a tight end star in TJ Hawkinson. This is a team that go out and get their boy in Aiden Hutchinson. this team's got some pieces, and I like them, and they got guts, and they got Dan Campbell out there screaming at them. I don't know why. I can't give you some great analytical reasons as to why the Lions are going to win this game. Just got a feeling. It's Christmas Eve. Give me the Lions. Go Lions, go.
All right. I'll give you that one. 7-8. They head down to Tampa Bay for an L on New Year's Day.
Don't need to talk much about that one. Happy New Year.
The crazy thing is, this Week 18 game, I think, will be meaningless as far as the wild card goes or whatever.
Yep.
But it could be for who's second in the division.
Yep.
We talked about the Saints not having Kamara for those first 6 games. Saints got a tough schedule. They go to New Orleans with a chance to get to 8 and 9, possibly. No.
Now I got the Saints in that one. It's a home game for the Saints. That helps. I think at the point at which you're eliminated, the Panthers are one of the best at going, we're eliminated. PJ Walker starting now. Guess what? We are not going to go out and win games. We're going to get the better draft pick. They're building towards the future. They've made some pieces. They've got some moves. I don't think there's any world where they want to play that game. I think they finish at 7 wins, and that is a perfectly fine, improved season for the Carolina Panthers.
So we have them sitting. This is Nick Mazesco has them sitting at 7 and 10.
11.
11?
11? 7-11.
No.
7 and 10. Yeah.
17 games. 7 and 10.
But I want them to be 7-11 because, free Slurpees, I think, for everybody in Carolina.
Well, if you want to throw a couple of preseason games in there, that's fine.
They'll be 7-11. They'll definitely lose some of those. But their preseason opponent, Washington, New England, Buffalo. Yeah, they'll definitely be 7-11.
They're definitely going to lose one of those games.
Yeah.
So what's the ceiling? Because for some reason, 7 games feels like the ceiling for this team.
Yeah, 8. I mean, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I got them kind of at their ceiling. I'll be honest, I'm kind of big on this team because A, Baker Mayfield is a step up at quarterback, and B, their defense is solid. It's a solid defense. Maybe overinflating what Baker Mayfield can do. Again, this is all in the caveat that Christian McCaffrey stays healthy the whole time. Yep. I think their ceiling is
Not
7 or 8.
But yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of toss-up games here that, they got a lot of the toss-up games going their way when I did my predictions, so I don't think there's a lot of room where it's like, yeah, they might go on the road and beat LA and beat the Rams. They also might combust into flames on the way. Those are both equally likely. I think 7 to 8 wins is not only their ceiling, but a good season for a team that was 5-12 last year.
What about the basement? How ugly can this get? You got them starting the season 4-0. So.
How low can this get? This is a 2-win team with Christian McCaffrey hurt. Christian McCaffrey has not stayed healthy for an entire season yet.
Nope.
This is with no Christian McCaffrey, with the Panthers deciding they're going to start Sam Darnold instead of Baker Mayfield, with the Panthers deciding they're going to start PJ Walker instead of Baker Mayfield, with any one of the multitude of things that could go wrong that we just don't know in July. Their floor is 3 wins. I think they're still better than the Falcons. They're still better than the Falcons. I think
no matter what, they probably at least split with the Falcons. So,
but again, you look at that, they split with the Falcons. Their easiest games beyond that are the Lions, the Seahawks in Seattle, and the Giants in New York. Yeah. I don't think you're winning all those with no Christian McCaffrey. I don't think you're winning all those with Sam Darnold. I think they're a bad team. So 2 wins, 3 wins is kind of your floor.
2 and 8 for those folks out there in the chat and those that are listening. Of course, those on LinkedIn.
Shout out Lincoln. What's up?
Shout out you guys watching out there and having a good time. We were not excited to do these Panthers. It made it a little more exciting with the news that Baker Mayfield is joining the squad. If they don't make the correct decision, if they start Sam Darnold, especially opening the season versus Cleveland Browns, that just tells me everything. It's going to be 2
playing for next year. Yeah. Also, if they play Christian McCaffrey for more than a singular down in preseason, wrap him in bubble wrap and carefully carry him from game to game so he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But they got Chuba Hubbard.
I hate it because he's so amazing. I got to see him in person in that Rose Bowl when I was out working for the NFL Network. And of course,
was that the Michigan State Rose Bowl?
Iowa.
Michigan State Stanford or Iowa Stanford? Okay.
Iowa Stanford. And course, Pasadena is an amazing place anyway. But he had a crazy game, and of course, I've known the Panthers since inception of the squad. They played the first couple seasons at Clemson. They had their training camp in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina. But
go Panthers, go!
And maybe this team died when Luke Kuechly retired.
I got DJ Moore right there. Lead, you got this, DJ. Got this, bud.
It's going to be an interesting season to watch. I think there's going to be some drama there as far as injuries goes and who's going to be the starting quarterback. I think that's going to be worth kind of checking out and watching. Of course, next week, we bring you the Atlanta Falcons to wrap up the division. But we don't think the Panthers, even with the trade, will get enough wins to move up to the second in the division. They will not be fighting for a wild card spot. It starts to tell me that these wild card teams probably coming from either the old school Central Division or the NFC East. We'll get to them at some point. We will be back next week, as we mentioned, with the Falcons. Sorry, Panthers, that we couldn't get you more wins. Nick tried.
I tried.
At one really point, he had him 5-0.
I don't want to hear any flack from user on Twitter. I did my best, man. I fought hard for your Panthers. Send me a gift basket.
You had him at 5-0 at one point. I had to talk you off the ledge to get you down to 4-1.
You're welcome.
Ugh.
I did my best. I did my damnedest.
All right, y'all. Have a safe week. We're getting closer and closer to kickoff for the NFL season, and we cannot wait. See you next time.